So, hi everyone, we warmly welcome you all to the first ever community call for OpenChoreo since we joined the CNCF as a Sandbox project. So, we are extremely excited to have everyone here at our first ever call, and we have a very exciting agenda in store. For everyone to take you through what's happening with OpenChoreo and give you an update. So, what we have a bit in line with the agenda is we are going to take you through the project update and roadmap, what we've been doing, where we are, and what the future looks like. And we'll give you a small sneak peek into some upcoming features. So, you'll be very excited and looking forward to these features that are coming. And then we will take you through a small, like a very short KT session, more on the code-based part. If you're interested to contribute as an external contributor, this might be a starting point for you to sort of look into the code and see where you can contribute. And then we are going to have a few minutes left for questions and answers. So please bring forward your questions. So before we want to make this session very interactive, right? And we want you to give us feedback, also talk to us if you're using OpenChoreo already, how you are using it at the moment. So other than a few of the familiar faces, I also see a few external people who have joined the call. So we'd love to get a short introduction. I see Martin on the call. I see Colum. Cool. So maybe you all can give a short introduction and whether you've already started using OpenChoreo or are you looking to work on it at the moment, or you're here just to know about what is happening with the update and any roadmaps. Maybe if a few of the external joinees can sort of give us a short introduction about yourselves, we'd love to hear.
Shall I go first?
Yes, go ahead, Martin.
So I think quite a few people on the call might know me. I work at the University of Edinburgh, and we're already using WSO2's developer platform, which is what OpenChoreo is built on. So I'm curious. I'm just curious to see how it's developing, and yeah, possibly with a future like being able to run it on premise to do some heavy lifting. But yeah, I'm just curious to see how it's progressing.
Great. Thanks
Yeah,
so much for joining, Martin. So
thank
hope
you.
we'll keep you very intrigued about the things that are upcoming with
Yeah,
OpenChoreo. Colum, maybe you would like to give us a small introduction. I think you're not audible at the moment.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, that's better.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hi. My name is Colin McCool. I'm European based, ordinarily in Ireland, but in Germany at the moment. I've been playing around with a number of these platforms in recent months. This one from OpenChoreo, and there's also a CNOE project, CAPE, does similar types of things, but not altogether the same, that I've also been experimenting with. But yeah, OpenChoreo looks to me to be very solid and well thought out. So I'm excited to see as you roll out more and more features. I've contributed a little bit so far, but hopefully I can contribute a bit more going forward. So thanks for your efforts.
Thank you. We are definitely looking forward to your contributions in the future. Anyone else who would like to give a short introduction, if there's anyone else who's joining externally? So I guess we can get started with the sessions. So I'm first going to hand the session over to Tishan so that he can start with the project roadmap and update. Over to you, Tishan. Tishan, you're on mute, I think.
Sorry about that. Hi, I'll go around again. I'm Tishan. I'm OpenChoreo co-maintainer, and also I work as a director of engineering at WSO2. would love to connect through LinkedIn. The QR is shared here. So today I'll go through a bit of history, a roadmap of WSO2. OpenChoreo. Yes. So OpenChoreo, this is a project that has been going on for some time, with few of us trying out. As Martin earlier mentioned, we have been having a developer platform, and then we were trying to uh, rethink the next version, next iteration of it. And then, so few of the folks were working on that. That is where this point 3 version is coming from. So that was going on as a side hustle, right? And around September 2025, we decided we want to make this effort mainstream. With all these AI native capabilities coming in, people are more depending on platforms to deliver their capabilities. So after that point, we did a major pivot, and started working on a new 1.0 release, which is architecturally and conceptually different from what we have been doing. So we were doing weekly releases up until March this year. And in March 2026, we did our 1.0 release. So this release is of course, the first major release of OpenChoreo project. With this, we brought the concepts of development platform abstractions. So development abstractions are for developers, like components, projects, and everything. And then platform abstraction, which is a turning point where we introduce platform abstractions such as component types, traits, and data planes and environments, where platform engineer can mold the platform in the way they like for their enterprise. That is the part that with that we bring in composability and adaptability for any organization. Also, with 1.0 release, we are having a programmable control plane, and we make the platform AI native with MCP servers, and then a built-in SRE agent who can keep on working on your system and give you root cause analysis. And then the whole new console based on Backstage. So Backstage is a very popular portal for internal developer portal category. Yeah. So we reuse the same thing. We didn't try to reinvent the wheel. We have a very interactive portal over there as well. And of course, built-in observability and module architecture. A module architecture where you can compose your deployment architecture. Also, you can compose your runtime components. You can plug and play your CI. You can plug and play your CD. You can plug and play your observability. All this increases the composability, and as a result increases the adaptability. So that is our 1.0 release. After that, we were working on a 1.1 release. In between, we did a point release for 1.0 release. So our point releases are usually on monthly calendars, but we will do that in as needed basis. So for 1.0 release, we have one patch release for the moment. And then in May last month, we did 1.1 release. With 1.1, the major features are we increase the AI posture of the platform. We introduce a FinOps agent, and then agent sandboxing capabilities were introduced in the as the initial implementations. And then we introduce a portal assistant that you can help with your questions. And then we introduce resource abstraction, which is again a major feature where you can model resources like queues, database, message brokers on the OpenChoreo system, so that you can model your whole enterprise architecture and also govern and regulate that through these resource abstractions. And of course, agent gateway. And then we introduce this Cilia module, which will give you advanced networking capabilities. And we introduce attributes-based access control, which I'm going to talk about in a bit as well, which gives you more fine-grained access control based on different attributes of the systems like environments, components, projects. And then improvements in the secret management part. and then observability, and around backstage as well. Like one improvement is this event-driven catalog sync in native backstage. There was a delay in syncing what is in the cluster and what is shown in the backstage. We solved that using event-driven catalog sync as well, so that our catalogs are updated in real life time. And then one of the other very notable features in 1.1 is the ecosystem marketplace that has all the community modules that we support. So we have a bunch of community modules, mostly within the team, and then some external contributors as well, like Open Observe, Open Search, and all. And also this community marketplace, ecosystem marketplace has all the skills and AI gateways and then API gateways that you can plug and play. So what you are promoting is, at the end of the day, a platform ecosystem that all together you can plug and play and modularize to create this engineering platform. With 1.1 release, those are the highlights. And then we did a point release 4.1 in just a few weeks back. And currently we are working on a 1.2 release. So this is where everyone is excited on. So with this, we are bringing on new features like scale to zero based on Kera, and a project release concept, a security and compliance agent, AI agent that is working on your system, and then more additions to attribute-based access control, and then more improvements to agent sandboxes, and also to the ecosystem marketplace by adding more skills and more modules. In the next session, in the few minutes, we are going to talk about sneak peek into three of these features. We're going to talk about attribute-based access control, and then we're going to talk about agent ecosystem, and then also one skill that we have done for the system. So this is a very quick summary on where we were and where we are going in terms of roadmap. The QR above will give you access to the public roadmap that we have. You're free to go through that, comment, and let us know what is important for you, and also create new feature requests. We'll be happy to incorporate those into the next phases of our releases. With that, I'll hand over to Binoy, who is going to do a sneak peek on the attribute-based access control and what are the new attributes that we have added so that you can fine-grain your access more. Over to you, Binoy.
Thank you, Dishan. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes.
So hi guys, I'm Binoy. I'm also a maintainer of OpenChoreo. So today, let me share my screen. Hope you can see the screen. Give me a sec. I'll move on to the presentation. Hope you guys can see the presentation. So basically, this is a sneak peek on authorization conditions that we introduced in the last release. So basically, this is OpenChoreo's way take on ABAC. I'll start with the problem we had. So we do have a very comprehensive RBAC system that works well with concepts, but this not in production scenarios that comes up very frequently with use cases. I'll give some examples. So the one thing is, say, as a platform engineer, you want to say, okay, my developers can manage releases, but not in the production environment or not in the X environment. Or another example is, if you go with this environment thing, say, I want to say as a platform engineer, okay, my developers can see logs on development, but not on staging or production for obvious data protection laws. So the idea we came up with, basically, we had a very solid RBAC system. So we thought of, we'll keep the RBAC system and we build on top of it using Cell, which is well known in both OpenChoreo and Kubernetes environment. So what we have is, so when you write a plain RBAC and you write a condition on top of it, that basically narrows it. I'll give a solid example. So say when you, in OpenChoreo, when you give release binding create permission to a person, they will be able to manage releases on any environment. So if you just had that, you can, when you give that permission, anybody can manage releases on any environment. But if you write a condition on top of it saying, but only to this environment, I'll show how you can do it. then it'll act as like this person can manage releases, but only in dev, only in stage. So before moving on to the demo, I'll just for all the PEs, I'll just show how the YAML will look like. So unfortunately, with the time, I will not go through this each and every line, but I'll highlight what is more important. So if you are aware of our authorization role binding schema, so we have this role. This is the subject. You have this role mapping. So what we used to have was this and this. Basically, you say which role you are assigning, and the scope. Scope basically means where are you trying to give the user permission. So in this case, it will be the namespace segment. So whatever come of these conditions section, this is the object. So here you can basically say these sections which belong to this developer. Obviously, this has to belong to developer, which are checked and everything. You say for these permissions, we have this extra constraint saying this can only be done if the environment of this resource is not basically production. So I'll show you guys a quick demo on how this is done. Let me know if you can see the OpenChoreo console in a bit. I hope you can see the OpenChoreo console. So this is I'm currently logged in as John. This is a developer in this particular platform. So if I move on to a project we have here, this is just one example. So in this greeting service, if you move on to the deployment page, as you can see, there are multiple environments: development, staging, and production. So currently, we have with the simple RBAC, the platform engineer has given developers the permission to manage releases. So as you can see here, I'm not going to click it, but you can promote from stage into production. You can undeploy staging. We can restart the pods in staging production. Sorry. So you can do all of that just because you got the release binding permissions. And if you move on to logs as well, as you can see, I'll just go it back a bit. Yes. So in development, in production, in staging, you can see logs. So what you can do as a platform engineer is, I'll just move on to the other tab. Hope you can see a white background OpenChoreo. So this is in the same system I am in. I'm logged in as an admin. So in this particular scenario, we have this developer binding, which is John part of. So if we, so by the way, this can be done in both in the YAML and as well as in the UI. For the sake of the demo, I'll just show how it is done in the UI. So as you can see, we have to set the subject, the roles, the effects, and everything. I'll just focus on the roles. So in the roles mapping, so currently we have said that this particular binding has the developer role cluster wide, right? So any namespace, any projects, whatever the permissions you get out of the role, you can do it. So here, now here comes the condition part. So here you can add conditions. So I'll just add two. For one scenario, I'll say user can only if you go to release binding. So this is how user manipulate releases, particularly deployments in OpenChoreo. So you say release binding create and release binding update. I'm going to say yeah. So one more thing. So currently, even though we are running cell behind it. So even though we don't have given we haven't given a auto completion thing for your easiness. Currently, when you select multiple actions, we list down what are common actions. Common conditions to the selected action. So here now I can say for resource environment, I'm going to say you can work with any environment except production. So give me a sec. I'll just copy paste the name so I don't make a mistake. Sorry about that. I'll just say resource environment not equals to production. So this is this notation also explained in the docs. Basically, we are saying the production environment of the default namespace. That is why this notation is there. So we are going to say resource node not equals to a production. We'll also add a condition. So for the log scenario I explained, we'll say for logs view, we'll say you can only see logs. So this is all cell expression. So you can write anything. And for this, I'll just go with the simple thing. You can say default. Hope I spelled it correct. Yes, development. So just to quick summary. So we said you can manipulate release bindings in every environment except production. And also you can view logs only in default development. If I do I will update the role mapping and then I'll update the binding as well. So now this is updated. So as soon as you update this, the backend will act according to this. But unfortunately, backstage sometimes it takes a bit time to reflect this. But anyway, the action itself is not permitted. You might not see the view properly. So that's why I just locked back in quickly. Yeah. Now, if you go back to that same service and go to deploy page, yeah. So if you can remember, this button was previously enabled. Now you can see you don't have permission to create the production in production, but still in this particular staging environment, you can see that you can see it undeploy. So you can do a rollout restart. But if you move on to the production environment, as you can see, all of these are disabled purely because we said users can't edit release bindings on production. So this is the release binding example. Now, if I move on to the logs example, like I said, so user should be able to view logs in development, but not in production or staging or any other environment we might have. So this is just a quick demo. I'll just quickly move back to sorry, the presentation slide. So in terms of availability, with the current latest that is 1.1, we have shipped the resource environment thing, which I just demoed. So that was one of the common cases we came across when talking to people. But with the 1.2 release, we'll be coming up with this component type, resource type, and workflow. So component, just one example, component type is basically if you are aware of how OpenChoreo works, we users or the Ps can define different component types, and based on that, user can create component. So here you can decide and say, okay, these people only can use these component types, sort of thing. So all of these are well explained in the upcoming docs. And also, obviously, this was designed to grow because we can't come up with everything. So if you feel like there's one or two conditions missing, please open up issue or even contribute. So we'll happy for you to contribute and make this list grow. So that's it from me. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, then you can go on next.
So yeah, hello, good evening. Also, I will start with let me share my screen first. Maybe can you stop sharing?
Yes, I'm just trying to stop sharing. I can't seem to give me a sec. Can't seem to. I'll just maybe.
Oh.
Give me.
It should be on the top, hidden.
Yes, but it just says. Yeah, man, I'll just.
I guess we are all new to Zoom.
Yeah, not used to using Zoom. Give me a sec. Sorry, I'm in the wrong screen. Sorry about that. Sorry for the delay.
So hope you all can see my screen, right?
Yes, Catherine.
Yeah. All right. So basically, it's all about the current development landscape. Like early days, we had completely reviewed code, and after multiple rounds of review, we come up with a deployment and move it to the executions, and everything is reviewed and deterministic. Even before it going to the deployment, we know what is in the particular application and what it is going to do. So that particular guarantee was there, so we don't have to worry too much about what's going to happen, or too much about the isolation of the particular application. But with the introduction of the agentic and agents and everything, the landscape is completely changed. So basically, when it comes to today new applications, so kind of an agent, what are the things included is like those agents can write and execute code, and they can access the file system, they can
Ketan, can you
access
hear me? Ketan,
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry.
Better to your Zoom window is blocking your slide.
all right. So now it's fine, right?
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
all right. So basically, yeah, thanks for pointing. Yep. The modern day agents are doing multiple activities, and it's kind of non-deterministic as well, like based on the prompt the user is giving, the execution pattern or the sequence of the execution. We don't have previous context in a pretty deterministic manner. So here the isolation of the application runtime become a huge factor, and we need to take care of that in a specific manner. So if we consider the regular path, like I mean today different providers giving multiple options for that isolation. If we take some of them, it's basically the container isolation plus some network boundaries. But the problem here is like, even though the container isolation is there, still those containers are using the underlying host system. So let's say there is a kernel level container escape sort of thing, then the entire system, not only the that particular application, because we are using the chart environment most of the time, the entire platform has a risk of getting compromised. So when it comes to OpenChoreo, in being a development platform, we are supposed to host different applications and bunch of agentic and agent related applications as well. We are introducing a Yep, we are introducing a extra component. Like, I mean, if you're looking at the OpenChoreo's concept, the deployments are mainly bound to a particular component type. And for this specific use case, we are introducing a new component type called agents. So let's say if you are running a agent-based application, you can simply select that particular component type and some extra configuration, just deploy it. Then you are getting all these benefit we are mentioned here. Basically, some sort of a kernel level isolation. Basically, it's running another small micro VM inside the container. You have your pod and the container. I mean, inside that one, instead of running the application directly, we have the small micro VM, which has the complete isolation, which is equivalent to some sort of running a VM with a VM provider. That kind of isolation comes with that component type. And by default, we have some network isolation where only the public internet can be accessible and all the privates are blocked. But still, you can configure, if you want to access the internal parts, you can do some extra configuration and get that done as well. And another part is the identity isolation, that is also kind of optional plus configurable, where you can from the application point of view, that doesn't aware about where it is running. Basically, even though it's running in a Kubernetes cluster, that basically we reduce all the context, and it has the a knowledge of the basic the runtime environment. Like this can be still modified. You can configure, you need to connect or use some other attributes, you can still configure it and get it achieved. But by default, these configurations are given. All these comes with a just a few extra basically just selecting one particular new component type and selecting another security level, and you are achieving all of these with OpenChoreo. So here we will go for a small demo. We are kind of explaining this behavior, how this one can be achieved within OpenChoreo. Is a quick one. So we have set up a specific project for this one, like we are running 3 components. Basically, this partner service is a kind of a internal component for the demo purpose. It exposing a URL which can expose some credential information, and other two are basically we have deployed the OpenClaw agent in 2 different manners. One is the regular service one. It's just a service, just with the container isolation, similar to deploying a service in the Kubernetes with default security protocols. And the second part, I mean, the third one, OpenClaw Sandbox. This is the same deployment, I mean, the same entity, but comes with the agent type. Like if you are wondering about how we can get that created, it's just a create component. Regularly, it's a service type. If you are going for a normal service without any agentic operation, you can go with the service type. If you want to deploy some agents which do the risky operations, we can simply go with this one. Then the remaining process is all quite similar, except the part we had to select which runtime isolation you need in the next step. So for the quick demo purpose, we already have these components deployed here, and we will be accessing the particular components terminals to showcase the behavior, like what kind of isolation and what are the actions. These are kind of limited with these two different types. So first, before this OpenClaw regular deployment, which has a normal service, let me navigate to the CLI. So we are exposing the CLI for given environment through this particular page. You can go to the artifact tree and then go to the specific part, and in that part we have the terminal tab where you can select if there are multiple containers. You can select the specific container and connect. This basically opens a terminal to the running container. So at the moment we have this in the OpenClaw regular. The regular means it's a regular service deployment without that micro VM based isolation we have. And the second part here, this is a for the sandbox part. Like, I mean, the second service we have this micro VM based isolation. So what we are here going to do is like we are going to execute few commands, and so like what kind of isolation is there and how this product against some prompt. So to start with, just to show the kernel difference. So if we are executing this kernel code within that regular one, we are getting this kernel version. So this is now running in an AWS one. So this is the kernel version of the host. Basically, both these pods are running in the same cluster and the same node interfaces. But this one running, I mean, this host coming from the exact node. And for this sandbox deployment, we are running the same command. So if we are looking at that, we are getting a different kernel version here, because even though these are running in the same node host, for the sandbox part, we have a micro VM, which is almost a different virtual operating system running there, and that host is coming here. That's why we have the kernel version different. So this is kind of an evidence saying like for this sandbox deployment, we are completely have a isolated VM. So this is for checking that part. Then just to invoke some other part, like showcase the network boundaries and how the models behave on that one. So we are executing a curl command via the OpenClaw itself. Basically, we get in the OpenClaw and execute a prompt saying, okay, call this particular endpoint and see whether you can get the result. So this endpoint call is going to that partner service we deployed in the same cell. So here at the end of the execution, okay, now OpenClaw is trying to connect to that one and execute that curl. And this service is exposing some credential information. Let's see how okay. Here at the end of the execution, basically it's able to connect and get the credentials and print this. So this kind of expose a particular problem, like it can communicate to any, say, or whatever the service deployed and call some information and directly return the user without any network related boundaries. So despite this kind of risk is there for the regular deployment, if we execute the same thing with our sandbox one, so it will try to, from the OpenClaw point of view, it will try to connect, but we have the by default network connection. Because of that one, it will not be able to communicate with the services and get the information. So by default, we are having that network boundary. If you want to connect to actually some other services, then you can explicitly mark that and get that connected as well. So basically, we are getting the information from that one saying this particular service is not accessible from this particular environment or this particular deployment. So the next part is like we are asking from the agent itself, we are executing another prompt from the agent asking to prepare a kind of pen testing report, like basically try what are the things you can access from this container level and see anything exposed kind of prompt we are passing. And let's wait for the response of the agent. So now here OpenGlow itself trying for the vulnerabilities and will provide a report saying, okay, this is the status of this particular runtime. The same we will do for other one as well once the execution of this one is completed. So this might take a bit of time since it doing some report preparation operation. While we waiting for that one.
And Catherine, in this example, you are using kata container isolation?
Yeah, Kata container. So basically, Kata container is the one providing the micro VM isolation at the deployment level.
And we are using that by using Kubernetes Sandbox container
Yeah,
sandbox.
so basically for the underlying to introduce this layer, Kata container layer, we are using the Kubernetes upstream project. So that is also a community maintained upstream project. We are using that for the integrating those runtime, whether it's runc or gvisor or Kata containers. We have the option, but for the maximum production, our recommendation is to go with Kata containers. There are some different runtime classes as well. We provide the options as well, switching in between. But general recommendation is the Kata containers.
But to run this, it requires some hardware level acceleration, right? For the
Yeah, like I mean, we had to consider that part while we setting up the cluster. So we had to specifically choose what is the node we are going to use. So for in this EKS case, we had to go for some clusters which has the capacity to provide hardware acceleration, and using that hardware acceleration, the KVM only, we are running that micro VM within the container. So it's provided a huge reports that way. It took some time. So it basically did the entire analysis and providing some report and identified the issues with accessing the secret with other services. And before going through that, let me execute the same command with the other one as well, and let that prepare that report. So meanwhile, we can go through this report as well here.
And again, you can close the Zoom window. It's blocking this.
Right. So basically, from this point of view, we have the container level isolation for this regular type deployment without having a VM kind of isolation. Still, we can access the other services and credentials, and most of the file system access also available, which we are mounting from deployment itself, or some of the critical file access, like process level accesses as well. So these parts are exposed, but still the container level isolation is there. When it comes to the Kata containers, still the report is being prepared. So while waiting for that one, so if we compare the security security improvements in between these two operations for the regular containers and the Sandbox. So we tried few of these here. Basically, for the secret grabbing part, the regular container was able to easily communicate with that one and get that information. And the other one is basically the request is blocked because of the isolation. And based on this, because of the host kernel and the VM kernels are two different one in this case. Even though there is a container escape kind of thing, the platform will not be comprised. The worst case, the particular runtime will be affected, but the rest of the platform will be still up and running without any issues. So overall, we'll be getting all these things at the same time. In terms of the performance, we can get the performance or the usability. It will be same or working for both the cases as long as we maintain the proper network configuration. For example, in this case, if we are doing some development work, the public internet access for the corresponding LLM is available, so both will work properly, providing the use case. At the same time, the sandbox based one provides a complete isolation and the associated security benefits. Let me go back and see. Okay, it's still going on because of that length of the report. It takes some time.
Also, from the developer point of view, developer just select the AI agent component type, and then the OpenChoreo control plane is take care of deploying into the correct node pool, right? I mean, there are nothing to select. It automatically select the hardware accelerated node pool and deploy this sandboxing environment into that, right?
Yeah, here everything is exactly wired. Like, I mean, the problem with this VM isolation is like we need the hardware acceleration, and that needs some extra cost. Like, I mean, compared to regular nodes, these hardware accelerated nodes cost a little bit extra. So we will not be able to afford deploy all the all the components inside that one. So we will have to specifically choose this is the one we have to deploy. So in that case, if we select the agent component type, those will specifically go to the hardware acceleration node. If there is no agent specific one, that node pool will be scaled down. So that is by default supported via the component type. So you don't have to worry about anything. During the setup phase, we have to say, okay, we have to kind of do a mapping. This component type will go to the this particular node pool using chains and the tolerations. Once the setup is done, from the developer point of view, they don't have to worry about anything. They just select the component type and get that deployed. So that we have a high level abstraction for the developer point of view. If the developer realizes, okay, this is a component which needs which executes some risky code or auto generated code or some sort of a risk is available, simply select the component type and go with the deployment. So now got the results for this execution in the sandbox environment as well. So if we look at the overall results, so in this case, accessing the reach is basically impossible. Like for the previous one, we can see the host access is possible, and there were some particular mounts and the host related command executions available, which can actually go up to the host level when there is a container escape path is available. But for this sandbox deployment environment, even though the compromises are there, the blast radius will be limited in a hard manner with that particular deployment. So with this, from the cloud itself, we are getting the final outcome saying this host is not accessible. So that kind of benefit we are getting with just a selecting one particular component type and without going deep into the implementation of the deployment patterns. So that's the main benefit we are getting of this one. So in this case, we already have this component type deployment component type available with the 1.1.0 for the 1.2, and we have the OpenChoreo CLI, which has the ability to exec. Basically, OpenChoreo, using the OpenChoreo CLI, we can get the component execution terminal as well. And with the 1.20, we will have this particular interface as well. This currently not available with the 1.1.0. With the 1.2 release, this will be also available with the OpenChoreo available public product. So basically, it's from my end. I think we can proceed with the next.
Thanks, Ketran. I think next up we have Rashad.
Yes. I hope I'm audible. And let me share my screen as well. Yeah. So hi, I'm Rashad from the OpenChoreo team and also from WSO2. And today I'll be walking you through one of the skills that we have, which is the import skill. So we actually do have a bunch of skills available in our ecosystem under skills. And what this import skill does is we can basically import any raw Kubernetes deployments into OpenChoreo, and installing it is pretty straightforward. So you just copy this command and paste it in the terminal. And yeah, so and make sure you select your agent here as well. So I'll be using Cloud Code and it is already selected. And yeah, so the skill is installed, and let me launch Cloud Code. Yeah, and so what we'll be importing today is the Bank of Anthos sample from Google Cloud. And as you can see, this is the high level architecture of it, and it has a bunch of different services in different languages. So let me grab the GitHub URL. Yeah, so I basically pasted the GitHub URL there and asked it to import this into OpenChoreo. And since we do have the OpenChoreo import skill installed, it should pick up the skill right away. So how it works is basically the skills have descriptions, and so whatever the task that you are performing, so if it matches the skill, it auto selects that. So if you want to import something to OpenChoreo, like this is the way to go. And also, like in addition to raw Kubernetes YAMLs, you can also use also point it to Helm charts or customize YAMLs or Docker Compose or anything of that sort. And yeah, so and this should also take some time as well. So what this basically does is it scans your repo, it clones the repo and scans through it, and it tries to map whatever is available out there into OpenChoreo concepts. So here, as you can see, it has already found the Kubernetes manifest, and so it's going through that, and this should take some time as well. So I also have a pre-run prepared to like go through what actually happened. So again, it's the same prompt which I gave it out there. So it took some time, and it went through the whole thing, and then it says that okay, so this is a good fit to OpenChoreo because it kind of cleanly maps to OpenChoreo concepts. And yeah, and so after some time, it should also launch a preview server for you. And that would look something like this. So this is the cell diagram of the thing which you um, of the app that we are importing into OpenChoreo. And also here along the way, it asked me a few questions as well. And one of the questions was that like what would the project split look like? And I basically asked it to split it by domain, as in so these things would be one project and these bunch of services would be another, and this is a separate project as well. And so we have the cell diagram preview here as well, and you should be able to look into those as well. And the idea here is basically so like if your workload is complex enough, and if you ask the agent to migrate this into OpenChoreo, it might not one shot it, or at least you shouldn't assume it did. So the idea is that you get into the loop and then you iterate with the agent. So the core idea is the core idea here is that we have the proposed plan. So this is basically a very high level overview of like how the migration would look like. So we have to review this. So this is the architecture diagram, the cell diagram, and also as you can see, so this the accounts project is not exposed outside, as it is only talking to the components within other projects. And if you go into the front end component, so it is exposed externally through the gateway as well. And then we also do have the platform resources, which are the component types, resource types, and the traits which this suggests. So we have three component types: the web application, the service, and we also have the worker for the load generator. And then for the Postgres DBs, we are using resources and so on. And yeah, so and then we have the project and the component split. So we have two components in the front-end project and three in the accounts project and so on. So we have this very high-level idea, and also we have the notes such as the anything that it dropped or anything that it's unsure of, or like basically anything to keep note of. Like during the migration, we should have those as well. So once you review this and like once you say that it is good to go, so you basically approve the plan, and then so it would take that as a starting point, and it would create a migration plan for you, that should also take some time. So and once that is done, you should be able to see the view migration plan button up here. and it would look something like this. So here it's basically a markdown file, which would be a nice handoff to another agent or the same agent, which you can pair with our other skills such as the developer and the platform engineer skills. So basically we have the developer skill, the platform engineer skill, and then we have this handoff, and using those you should be able to successfully import the whole app into OpenCoreo. And here what it has is on like the different design decisions to be made. So during that migration you should come across all those things as well. And then you have all the contracts between the component types and the components and the traits and the different parameters which get exposed, and the shapes of the different resources as well. So yeah, and you should be able to like also copy that as a markdown and like give it in a separate session as well if you want to like save your context as well. So yeah, and also again I just make sure that this is just a tool which is meant to help you migrate any workload into OpenCoreo. And yeah, and I welcome you all to use it and use our other different skills as well. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Sorry, Rashad, so one clarification. So within that, what you showed in UI, it's coming from the skill self before migrating to the OpenCoreo. So it's provide the UI to validate it and deploy it, right?
Yes. So this preview service like open from the skill itself. So it basically writes an HTML file and like restricted to some guidelines, and then it opens a dev server for you, and all of this is within that itself. So it's like a visual guideline where like you can like see like what's actually been created, so that you can just have a better view of it before like giving it any feedback or anything like that.
And when it's deployed into OpenCoreo, you can see actual cell diagram that is actual running in within the OpenCoreo itself, right?
Yeah, and it should look exactly like this. And here also we have all the dependencies wired up as well, and the OpenCoreo cell diagrams should look the same as well.
Okay.
So it basically creates a spec on what this should look like in OpenCoreo, and then it's like just a matter of like implementing that in OpenCoreo. Or so you can use the other skills for that as well.
Okay, thanks, Ashok. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Rashad. Next we have Miraj. Miraj, over to you.
Hello, thanks, Kaustya. Hope you can hear me. Hello, I'm Miraj. So I'm also OpenCoreo maintainer from WSO2. Let me share my screen. So I will quickly like go through the code base, so it will be like helpful for you to like understand the high level structure, and it will be useful for you to in the contribution. So I mainly focus on the OpenCoreo main repo. So there are like a couple of other repos, so backstage and the documentation repo. This one is like mainly going through the main repo. Before going to the component level, like in order to understand the code, like you need to have a bit of understanding of high level how these things fit together. So I just like a rough like cut down version of the Choreo architecture, like components, different components, and how it interact with each other. So at the heart of the Open Choreo, we have the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes have this Kubernetes API server and the controller runtime. So where we have this everything baked fitting together. So if you go into our repo, and if you're familiar with the Kubernetes controller, you will see the base structure is started from KubeBuilder. So when we originally started this project, we bootstrap from the KubeBuilder project, and over the time we add these different features. These new components adds up. So these two will be like the core part of the system. The Kubernetes API server will be outside, but what we have in the code base is the controller that will react to our resources. Then everything is interacted with this our own OpenCoreo API. So this is the layer, REST API layer that we do authentication and authorization, and you can plug your own IDP and everything. Everything will be every other entry point that you're interacting will be attached to this one. So only thing that is outside that you are going through the API server will be if you are working with GitOps. So GitOps will be directly interacting with the Kubernetes API server. Then you will have this backstage CLI and MCP. So in our main repo, we will have CLI and MCP. So backstage is a separate repo where it has the backstage plugins and everything. Then you will see this cluster gateway and cluster agent where so OpenChoreo has this multi-plane architecture. So in order to communicate with the different planes, we have this cluster gateway and agent. So agent will be the one that is reside in different plane, which initiate a communication with the cluster gateway, and the controllers within the OpenChoreo control plane will communicate via this cluster gateway. So if you go into our OpenChoreo main repo, so this is pretty standard Go project structure, and this is bootstrap from the kube builder. So if you go into if you're familiar with the kube builder, you will see this project YAML where we have defined all the Kubernetes CRD. So this is at the heart we will have these CRDs that define our abstraction, and on top of that we have different layers. So at the starting point, these are like the top level critical starting points, like the API and the CMD. So if you go into CMD, so these are the final compiled binaries that we will eventually get shipped as a component. So in the CMD directory, we have the root level main.go. This is initiated with the kube builder project. You will see these different annotations. This is the controller manager. So this is where every Kubernetes CRDs get wired. At bare minimum, you can start this one, and in the control plane itself, you can run it without any other component. Then you will have this OpenChoreo API, so which is the interaction point of all other the OCC CLIs and the backstage user entry points. So this is the OpenChoreo API, and then you have this OCC. So OCC is the OpenChoreo CLI, which is use the co-brand the main as a main CLI framework. Then this one is not in my diagram, though this one is the observe API. This resides in the observability plane. And there are like a couple of components that are like utility components that you use for example, this event forwarder. So this event forwarder is used for the backstage event plumbing, where it will get immediately reflected when you do a CRD change. And this will be like cluster agent and gateway. So in this case, like I will mainly focus on like the core part of the CRD. So the main CRDs are residing here. Let's say if you are going with let me give this. So here the API v1 alpha, you will have this all the OpenChoreo abstraction where you can start. So when we discuss about projects, components, so this will be residing here. So these are kube builder bootstrap CRDs, and then this CRD, like you have, once you define these CRDs, there will be like kube builder tool chain. That tool chain will convert it into this configuration which contain the actual Kubernetes CRD definition. So these are the like final the YAMLs that is generated from that bootstrapping. So when you are working on like a core runtime, what you start with basically in here, let's say you are going to add a new field or do any update. So you will start from here, this from the API spec point of view. Then you will have this internal directory. So this internal directory will be the one we most of the business logic reside. So the controller one will be the main interaction point, that there are all the Kubernetes resources, and the relevant controller logic will be residing There you will have for each resource, you will have corresponding Go package for the that is specific resource. So for example, if you go into the component, you will have this the controller core. So this is the entry point. If you are familiar with the like controller runtime, you will have this reconcile and everything bootstrapped by the builder framework. Then on top of that, then you will have this. I mentioned there are like a couple of other components. So each this component, we have this top level package. This package will have the specific business logic onto the for that component. For example, if you go into the OpenChoreo API, this will have all the OpenChoreo API code base, and this also has this MCP handlers, and the MCP handler will be like another interaction point that we discuss. And other than those, we have other utility packages you can see while exploring the code base. And then we have this Open API directory. So in the other, as I mentioned, so we have this OpenChoreo API, right? So this API, we are using the design first approach. That means we first write this Open API ML, and from there we generate the code. We have integrated from the code generated tools that will generate Go code, and all the wiring from HTTP level to the boilerplate implementation. What you have to do is write the code at inside the OpenChoreo API. Then you will have the typical like public package and a sample directory. And then we have this one is we have like two tooling directory. One is make directory, and there is tool directory. So this will be like you rarely touch it because these are like build system, and when you are doing local testing, everything will be tools will be handling here, and all the automation tools will be in here. For example, we use Helm charts, and the kube builder generate as a customized file. So we use Helm Gen to like convert those customized into like Helm charts, and license validators are side in here. Then you will have this install directory. So this will have doing changes to like OpenChoreo has this quick start, right, where you don't need to install anything but Docker. So from the Docker you can try out full OpenChoreo. So this quick start has all the necessary like the Docker file and all the configuration and the Docker image here. And this Helm install Helm directory will contain all the chart that you are using. For example, if you go to our docker like control plane, data plane, you install via the Helm chart. So these are the Helm chart that we package and ship during the release. If you have chart modification, you can come in and modify it here. So yeah, that's in high level. You have this all the Go specific directories and tool chain in the code base. Then you have this. So in the original like the diagram, I didn't put the agents. So we have like a couple of AI agents. So these AI agents are a bit different. These are written in Python. So this agent directory contain all those Python code. So we separate it out from the main Go repo because the core part of the repo is Go. So in the agent directory, you will have like dedicated directory for each agent, and we use Python in here because it's like a Python frameworks are like much more stable for this AI agent writing. And yeah, these are yeah, this is pretty much it. Then you will have when you start in the contributing to the OpenChoreo. So we have this doc directly. We have but all the convention and everything is documented here. So if you can start it from this page, and what is the Git workflow that we use, and different release how we release everything. You can check it from here as a starting point. Like so, once you read this one, we will have from the contribution point of view. So we have this good first issue label. So now if you are new, you can start from here. So every issue, like regardless of the other repos, all the issues will be created at OpenChoreo main repo, where you can find and pick one. And other than that, you will have from the repository wise, you have this backstage plugin and OpenChoreo GitHub. So this is the website and the community modules. So the easiest part to start is like when you starting checking with the OpenChoreo, you are going to the web page, and if you find any problems in the docs, you can start doing from here to like contribute to the doc. Otherwise, you can start from the like good first issue side. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this part. Yeah, I think.
Thanks, Miraj.
Any question? Yeah.
So I know we've run a bit over time. I
Yeah.
think for our first community call, our maintainers got a bit too enthusiastic and went deep into explaining the features and the sneak peeks. So I'm just going to open the floor for any questions. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead and ask.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Lak.
How frequently we are planning to do this commit call? This is great.
I think as we discussed initially, it was going to be a monthly thing, right? Do we need to increase the frequency or?
I would like to, but I would like to hear from others as well.
I guess we can start with monthly and then see.
Yeah,
that's an option. And yeah,
and also let's see how the community. I mean, anyone can request, right? Then comment on this. Is going to be a public video. This will be hosted. We'll see how the community feedback.
So maybe another point of feedback we would like to have from the community is also about the format of the call, right? Is it more of a discussion-based call that we want to do where we discuss maybe an existing feature that we are sort of working on, any challenges we sort of faced, and maybe actively get the community also to engage in the conversation and give us some suggestions, ways of tackling the issue? Is that some way that we want to try, or is it more of a what's happening in the scenes, a few sneak peeks into the upcoming features? Is that the preferred format? So even we would like to try a few and see which one sort of works and resonates with the community as well. But we would love to get some feedback as to what sort of format you guys would prefer. So do we have any more points of discussion or any questions, anything else that we need to discuss?
I think there's a message from Martin in the chat.
Okay.
Hi, Martin.
Hey, how you going? Yeah, I know. I seriously think that like rather than just have the same meeting every month, I think if you've got a theme, it's like, any type of meeting, unless you have an agenda, have an agenda and stick to the agenda. So because with this, there's quite a lot of features to announce. There's, and like going through the whole release cycle, is really good. So I think if you've got a release coming up, schedule a meeting and discuss what's being released then, rather than just have it on like a regular thing.
I think that's great. What we can do is we can keep a scheduled date for a month, and if there are no items in the agenda, we can just cancel it beforehand. Right?
Yeah, and
That
also I
should be
think
Yeah.
we can open community to add the topic to a agenda. I think based on the time interval we allocated, we can select, okay, this topic will be going to this month of community call, and likewise we can plan the call.
Yeah. I think the code walkthrough was pretty interesting, like for anyone who's sort of looking into the contribution part of it, really taking them to the code and the structure and which repositories includes which parts. And I think that was a very good walkthrough done by Miraj to sort of get the external contributors, anyone who's looking into contributing into the code base, sort of excited.
I think we can do something similar to the website repo as well. I think
Yes.
that will be the most, first entry to contribution, the documentation.
Yes. So we are in the
Miraj,
Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry. No, I was just asking a question for Miraj. So I noticed there's one main.go under CMD.
Yeah.
I think we talked about
Yes.
this earlier as well. Can we wrap it up with the direct like controller manager?
Controller managers. Yeah, you mean the different package, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that part, like the Go build has annotation put there. So when you create a new like a new CRD, it will check there. That was
Okay.
like
All right.
when we bootstrap the project, I was like checking whether there's a way like when we move that directory, it can't like find that package to
Okay.
place. We can see whether it's now improved or not. So they have this like single controller level bootstrap. So for example, like controller in the sense like CRD, even at the moment, like what we are doing is once we create the CRD, it will create at the controller top, like like internal slash controller. So we move that manually, but after that it is fine. Then the next generation it will be fine. The problem with the main is it is shared, like every resource generation like CRD addition it will add it.
Okay.
We'll see like whether they have it or otherwise that's kind of outlier, like
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
ISO.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, like Miraj also said, like a good point of entry for anyone who wants to contribute is that good first issues list, right? It might look a bit short initially, but we are, as the maintainers, we are in the process of adding a whole bunch of issues into that list, filtering through the issues that the team has to fix as well. So we'll be updating that good first issues list on a weekly basis. So you will see brand new issues. It can be on docs, website, in the portal, code base, anything that's simple, and there will be different levels as well, right? So easy to pick up sort of issues that you can fix easily. So if you are interested, definitely do follow. We'll add the links in the meeting doc as well, so that you can sort of look for these good first issues and easily start contributing into the code base.
Yeah. And one more thing, we have started this working group. I think we are just trying it out and see how it works. We started our first working group, which is focusing on our observability plane architecture, more of a architecture level working group, because we are adding more and more features like DORA metrics to cost insights, and they all live in the observability plane, and then each feature can bring several infra components, and we want to figure out the consistency. Like you can't put a lot of things here. So this working group focus is to figure out the right architecture for the observability plane. Similarly, I think yesterday we had the first kickoff meeting. We will publish there's a community calendar for this each working group, and you can see the upcoming calls and coming meetings, everything there. I think we're gonna have some more working group focusing on developer experience, AI aspects of OpenChoreo and things like that in the future. Those are also good ways to contribute and join and help the project. I just send the link to the chat if you're interested.
So I think since we are a bit over time, I think we should finish the first community call. It was interesting to see the different ideas and the upcoming features and all of that. So we will keep you guys in the loop, look into our discussions to see any upcoming community calls, and we will be sharing on our social media as well. So we'd love for the community to add any topics that they would like to discuss. If you want a more deep dive into a specific feature within the code, if you want us to take you through a certain code-based section where you're interested in contributing, so please do let us know through our GitHub discussion specific to the community call, and we'd be happy to pick it up and discuss about it in the next community call as well. So thank you so much for everybody who joined the community call. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.